Little pretty girl sleeping on the bed. So this is a part 2 to my last video, which was about what my goals were for 2020. One thing I want to start with, and this isn't really going to be a list. This is really just going to be a chat. So let's just chat. Let's have a chat on how you can make and achieve your goals and the mindset you should have when you're doing this. Avoid the idea of resolutions when you're trying to make changes, positive changes in your life. It's very lofty oftentimes. It's an ideal that is very far oftentimes from where we actually are. I'm going to carry that all year. Like tomorrow I'm just going to be brand new and I'm going to maintain that brand new personality and a brand new life all the way through. And I think that's like really, really lofty and very resolute. And I think that's implied in what a resolution is. In my opinion, I think that's what's become implied. Start it whenever. It can be as small or as big as you want it to be. It can be a little change for the whole entire year. It could be a little change for tomorrow. In order to make and achieve a goal, I think your mindset when you go to do it is to understand that goals take a long time. Like a long time. Like it could be years. It could be months and years for you to achieve your goal, depending on how big or little your goal is. So I think that's something that you should have as a mindset going into goal making, is that it takes time. And you should look at goal making as lifestyle changes, because ideally a really good goal is a lifestyle change, or it's going to change your life. It's going to change your day. So if it's changing your day, it's probably changing your everyday, which is your lifestyle. So if we're going to look at a goal as a lifestyle or a change in your lifestyle, that's going to take time. That's going to take time. I feel like I have to say that again. It's going to take time. You might do an action for 3 to 4 weeks. You might work out every day. You might get results. But I'm telling you that a goal in its most ideal form is supposed to become a lifestyle for long term. Otherwise, you're just going to undo everything you did. If you're trying to get thin, let's say you get thin in a month or two somehow, which is great if you do, fantastic. But you also have to maintain that. And that's again, the lifestyle. So just be in it for the long haul with your goal. Be in it for the long haul. It is going to take some time. The next thing I want to talk about is the idea of perfection. And that kind of comes out of that, is that you're not going to be perfect. I don't think you should aim to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect. I approach my goals in a very slow burn kind of way. I don't like to make a drastic change overnight. I like to make small adjustments, small habits, small additions, small subtractions from my actions, what I'm doing day in and day out. There are days where I get ahead, or I feel like I'm getting ahead, and then there are days where I completely fall off whatever it is I'm doing, and that's fine. I don't think you should aim for perfection. I just don't think you should aim for drastic. And an example of this would be like working out. I really want to work out this year, as I've talked about my 2020 goals video, and I have to be so sneaky. I had to be so sneaky about it because I have a big mental block against working out. I don't like leaving my home when I get home from work. I'm tired. I don't consistently wake up early enough to work out before work. I don't consistently have energy to work out on lunch. And I don't always have energy when I come home after work to go out to a gym after I'm home with my dog. I have to start small. I have found a task that I like that is some form of exercise, and it's walking. And so I just say, I'm gonna try to walk every day. It could be 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 60 minutes. Again, I'm not aiming for perfection. I'm aiming for the least path of resistance. So I'm basically walking every day. Not a problem, because I can do that. I can do 10 minutes. Hey, I can go put on my pants. I can go down to the gym. I can walk for 10, 20 minutes and then come back up and finish my life. And what ends up happening is you go down there and then you figure, all right, I can stay for 30 or 40 or an hour. You know what I'm saying? It started a low threshold, because that is what I'm saying is going to build a lifestyle. And so eventually you might start to call working out. So that's what I started to do. After I kind of got that habit down, I got used to just going to the gym or hitting the gym when I could. I started doing pull-ups on the pull-up bar and doing some other like ab work. And so now I'm working out. I still call it walking because I'm very afraid if I call it working out, I'm going to go back to that mindset of like, I'm not doing it. So whatever works for you, like don't be afraid. So that leads into my next thought, which is basically having a why behind your goal. Find something you like and matters. Don't just say, okay, well, so-and-so is going to do this goal, so I'm going to do it too. Or just the arbitrary list of what everybody else is doing. Find something that you like, and you might need to dabble around in other things to find it, which is what you should do. If you really don't know what you want and you're a young adult or an older adult, any age, it does not matter, and you find yourself being in sort of a rut and you want to try to get re-inspired, try everything. Be like Jim Carrey in Yes Man. Go out and do it. So for years, I had been in a relationship with a guy for a very long time, and we are back together at this point, but we had broken up and I was wayward. I didn't really have a life. I didn't really have friends. I didn't really have connections with myself or with others or hobbies or things I was good at or physical activities I was doing. So I went to a friend's birthday party and I met another friend there, or another person through her, and she invited me to join a flag football team. I would have never joined a flag football team in my life, even if you'd paid me. But I just kind of realized that I was like, you know what? That's so out of my wheelhouse. I'm going to do it. I'm going to say yes. And you guys, I made some of the best friends I've ever made on that team. It was just so much fun. It brought me so much joy to do on a weekly basis. I made new connections, new friends. I felt like I was a part of something. You just don't know. I could have went and hated it and then I would move on, but I loved it. So you just don't know what you're gonna like. So definitely experiment, try new things on, go do different things, say yes to life for a bit. That could be your goal. Saying yes to life. If you feel like you're in a rut, you don't know who you are, where you are, what you're doing, going through a breakup, a life change, a major event has happened to you, a traumatizing thing, try new things and try to get re-inspired again. Put yourself out there, and who cares? Like, who cares? Like, put yourself out there. Who cares if you're weird? Who cares if you like feel like a loser? Who cares if no one talks to you? Like, all those fears that kind of hold you back from doing new things, don't need them. You don't need them. They don't help. And actually, I think that is like my next topic, which is another place to start to like make and achieve some goals. I think a good starting point is your fears, is your insecurities. What keeps you up at night? What do you have nightmares about? You know, what makes you nervous? Find those areas, like find those areas of improvement. Find those places where you're like, I don't want to. Find the resistance, you know, find things that, like I just said, like scare you, and go for it. I think that is where you find yourself. Like, that sounds so cheesy and so corny, but that is when you find yourself, is when you lean into those fears, dive into what that is and write about it, journal it, really, really peel those layers back, because you will build so much confidence. And when you build confidence and you build new experiences with yourself and others, your life begins to open up. You have so many things that excite you. You have so many goals. You feel like you can conquer the world. And an example for this for me was flying. I was very afraid of flying. I still don't like to fly. I'm gonna tell you what. It's not about beating your fear. It's about facing it. And that's what you have to realize. It's never about beating it. You may or may not ever beat a fear. I don't know if that ever happens. I think sometimes we have our fears, and that is good. You know what I mean? And that's areas where we struggle, or our minds struggle with that areas. It might not even be areas we actually struggle in. It's like our minds think we are struggling with that. But I digress, but back to being on planes. I was afraid. I did not travel. I drove places I could drive, you know, and that held me back for a lot of my life. So then around 23, I had a job where I had to travel, and I flew in 1 week. I flew from Atlanta to Orlando, Orlando back to Atlanta, Atlanta up to Boston, Boston back to Atlanta, all in 1 week. I felt like the biggest badass by the end of that whole thing. That was in 5 days. It was in 5 business days. I felt like the biggest badass. I was like, yeah, no big deal. It's just the engines. Like, no, it's just the wind. Like, I literally got so much better at flying, and I felt like the biggest badass. I was like, yo, fuck that. Like, I'm about to go do this. So I feel like when you taste, if you can like change, listen, you might always be afraid of a thing, But if you change how you approach your fears, when you face your fears, you get so high on that. You're just like, I did that. Like, so if I did that, I can do this, and that. And always have that energy ready, man. Always have that ready to go. I think that is so imperative. That is so critical. So face your fears, lean into your fears, be honest about your fears to yourself at least. Like, be honest. Like, if you had a weird feeling last night and it kept you up at 3 a.m., like, write that down. Why did that bug you? Like, yo, I had one once that was like, you know, I'm almost 30, I'm 28. And I had one at night where I was like, oh my God, am I doing enough? Have I done enough in life? Like, I'm already almost 30. What have I really accomplished? Like, have my relationships mattered? Like, my whole world, like, it was just tumbling down because I was in that subconscious mind, which is where I'm really living. Our egos are up here during the day when we're conscious, but at night, those deep fears come out. That's exciting. Wake up and be excited about that. I woke up and like a few years ago, I would have been like, let me put that away. Let's just not pretend. Let's pretend that didn't happen. Let's pretend those thoughts and fears don't exist. Now I'm like, no, let's write that down. Let's figure that out. Where does that come from? Is it because of this? Is it because of that? Am I being a perfectionist when I think those things? Do I think the things I've done are good enough? I love that. I love that. So that's my tips for the mindsets that you should have when you go into making and achieving your goals. Is just getting inspired, leaning into the real thing, man. Like, don't just go for like, I want a hot body. Like, great, you want a hot body, but why? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, have your why behind everything that you do in life, especially when you go through your goals, because your goals are going to be a high level view of what you want your overall life to be. Why did I just do all that? But I don't know. But yeah, that's basically what that is. So just think of it that way. Your goals are your guiding totems to building a better lifestyle, and a better lifestyle means better life. So that's my last thing I'm going to leave you on is this, is that think about where you want to be and write that down. So if I want to be a world traveler and I want to feel confident in my own skin and build a body that's fit and runs on good, clean food, draw that out in your mind. Like, write it out. Like, here's what I do on a daily basis. Or like, hey, today I woke up, I looked in the mirror, I felt good, I felt great, I did this, I did that. Imagine yourself in the life you want, in the lifestyle you want, and your goals will work backwards from there, and then your tactics to achieving those goals. And then over time, you will make changes that align with that, and you won't settle for things that don't. You will only do things that are in alignment with those goals. And when you're in alignment with your goals, you're eventually going to end up at that place where you really want to be. So I hope this was helpful to somebody. I hope it at least got somebody inspired. If you guys want another video like this one's already very long, so I could talk at length. I get excited about this kind of stuff. But if you guys want another one of these, I got you. I hope you guys find what inspires you and get out there and kick some ass. I can't yell, I have neighbors. Thanks for watching. Bye.